Glasslite, Gaslight, Glasslite, Gaslight, Glasslite, Gaslight, Glasslite. They were vintage Star Wars figures were released in 1988. Welcome back to the Junk Room, everybody. It's me, the Junk Man, and you are you. Welcome back. Before we get started with this video, as always, to support this channel, head over to patreon.com. Links in the description below, or check out our new way to support us at Subscribestar. That link will also be in the description below. Or buy some cool t-shirts. Not like this one here. This is a real shirt, not one that I sell on my website, StarWarsJunk.net. So, what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk vintage Star Wars toys, but not Kenner. As you all know, Kenner stopped making Star Wars toys in 1985 after the decline of Star Wars sales. I know, it's hard to believe Star Wars toys wasn't selling in 1985. But don't worry, there were some vintage Star Wars figures released.
Isto é Star Wars, o filme transformado na maior aventura da Glasslite. Réplicas perfeitas das naves com ruído de voo e ação espacial.
Luke, é os imperiais atrás de você! Deixa eu ver! Ele fugiu! Derruba ele! Peguei! Leia!
Heróis e vilões articulados.
Identidade Vader!
Coleção Star Wars da Glasslite. Que essa força esteja com você.
Glasslite. I believe it's pronounced Glasslite, but I used to say Glasslite. I used to say Glasslite for years, so if I say Glasslite, you know I mean Glasslite. I'm not 100% sure how to pronounce it, but what is Glasslite? Well, it was a toy company in Brazil who got the rights to make Star Wars figures in 1988, 3 years after Kenner canceled the Star Wars line. Sadly, in Brazil, no company during the heyday of Star Wars had license to make Star Wars toys. However, there was a model train company called Model Trim that made bootleg Star Wars figures. No, they were not made out of the plastic figures like Kenner did. These were made with lead. Just what every kid wanted to play with, lead Star Wars figures. Of course, being bootleg Star Wars figures, these were not released under the Star Wars title. These were called Adventures in Galaxy. But during the early 80s, Glasslite, or Glasslite, did have success with other toy lines under their TV toy series. This included the A-Team, Masters of the Universe, Thundercats, Karate Kid, and much more. Finally, in 1988, again 3 years after Kenner canceled the line, they got the right to make Star Wars action figures. They picked up two different Star Wars series. First, the Star Wars Droids cartoon line, but this video is going to focus on the other line they bought, the Star Wars Power of the Force. I'm going to save the Glasslite or Glasslite Star Wars Droids line for another time. However, I will point out that the Star Wars Droids line does have the rarest common Star Wars figure there is. By common, I mean not a variation or not some kind of prototype that wasn't released to the public. And that figure is Vlix. Again, only released in the Glasslite action figure line in Brazil. Rare figure will run you thousands of dollars. In fact, one went up on auction a couple of years ago for $60,000. Not sure if it sold for that, but that's what they were asking. But again, we're going to focus on the Power of the Force released in 1988 and not the Droids cartoon series. We'll save that for another video. We all know the Power of the Force figures released in 1985 as the last 17. Although they're really 15. Some people count the Return of the Jedi Ewoks as Power of the Force figures, but that's for a whole nother video. In fact, I think I actually did a video on that. Now, the Power of the Force Glasslite line had 7 action figures and 3 vehicles. Now, although there were 7 action figures released, the back of the package shows 8 figures. There was an Obi-Wan Kenobi on the back of the card, but the figure itself was never released. Kenner did work closely with Glasslite, who sent them reference photos from their Star Wars collection. This may be why some of the figures that never got produced by Glasslite are featured on the back of the card or some Glasslite ads. But let's talk about the action figures themselves, and we're going to start off with C-3PO. As you can see from the photo, the one on the left is the Glasslite C-3PO action figure. Kenner has a more silver look. It's on the right. This figure did have the removable arms, but it did not come with the carrying patch that the Kenner figure came with. Now that we looked at C-3PO, let's go over to everyone's favorite Wookiee, Chewbacca. This figure is a lot closer to the Kenner release. But as you can see here, there's some small changes. Chewbacca's bag is not colored on the Glasslite action figure. Also different about the Chewbacca Glasslite action figure. He comes with Zuckuss's gun. Why? I don't know. It seems like it might be even harder to produce, so I don't know why they picked this gun. There's a few other minor changes between the Kenner Chewbacca and the Glasslite Chewbacca, but they're minor. We're not going to get that far into details in this video. Next up, Darth Vader. Very similar to the Kenner release. The figure does have a heart of plastic and a different color red, and has more of a glossy appearance. Darth Vader's lightsaber is a duller color in the Glasslite release. Now with Darth Vader out of the way, we can talk about the captain of the Millennium Falcon, Han Solo. This one to me really stands out because it looks like someone gave Han Solo 2 black eyes. Also different about this figure, he doesn't come with the standard Han Solo pistol. It comes with a Jawa gun. Again, I have no reason why Glasslite decided to change up the guns, but they gave him a Jawa gun. Next up, and boy is it cold outside, because we're going to talk about the Alta Trooper. Again, another one that's very similar to the Kenner release, except it's missing his apron or skirt or whatever that bottom cape thing's called. Again, there's some small minor detail changes, but we're not going to focus on that for this video. He does come with the correct gun, although it's a slightly different color variation. Now that we're done with talking about him, let's move on to everyone's hero, Luke Skywalker. Again, nothing really major here. He does have more of a black belt instead of the Kenner release. As for the saber, it has a thicker tip and a duller color. Now that we've talked about Luke Skywalker, let's go over to his sister, Princess Leia. She, like her boyfriend Han Solo, comes with a Jawa gun. And to make things even weirder, her Jawa gun is silver. As for the figure itself, I see no major differences between the two figures. Okay, sorry this audio sounds a little different. It's because I forgot to talk about R2-D2. So let's talk about him really quick here. Again, no major differences. The color sticker seems to be a lighter blue used on the Glasslite figure, but the most noticeable difference is the dome, which colors his eye red instead of blue like the Kenner release. Also different is his pop-up lightsaber. The Glasslite has a lighter color green. Now that we talked about the 7 figures released by Glasslite, let's talk about the 3 ships. First up, the TIE Fighter. However, the box calls it a TIE Interceptor. It seems over in Brazil, they get their ties mixed up. On the box, it shows a Luke Skywalker Bespin figure and a Stormtrooper. However, they were never released in the Glasslite line. This has the same mold as the Kenner release, but the light on the ship was disabled, but it still made the sound. The paint uses a slightly different color, and they use different stickers, what gives the ship kind of a unique look. Best thing about this is the artwork. The artwork on this box looks amazing. Also released, the TIE Interceptor, in the box listed TIE Fighter. Like the other ship, the mold is the same except for the stickers, again giving it a unique look. As for the color of the ship, it has more of a light gray silver look that the original Kenner one did not have. For some reason, they have a big photo of Darth Vader in the top right corner that kind of takes away from the nice art on the box. I'm guessing this was just put on for kids to see Darth Vader and beg their parents for it. And again, amazing artwork here. I would love to have this as just a poster hanging up on my wall. And the third and final ship from the Glasslite line is the X-Wing. It has the same familiar white color that the original X-Wing had, not the gray battle damaged look released later by Kenner. Again, the light for this has been disabled, but the sounds still work. Another little add-on piece that the Kenner didn't have, a thumb release when you're changing batteries. The stickers for this are different than the Kenner release, and one thing odd about the stickers call this ship an ASAX. This is the only time I know of that the X-Wing's been referred to as an ASAX. Now let's look at the card itself. One thing I really loved about these cards is it's so different than the Star Wars Kenner cards. They're not using the figures seen from the movie on the card, they're just using basic scene grabs from the film. And I love that little TV toy logo because when I see it, I think it says as seen on TV. Which is very odd for Star Wars toys, because when you think Star Wars, you think of the movies, not TV. Again, each card front was basically the same, with a sticker placed over for the figure's name. As for the back of the card, it also shows a Bespin Luke Skywalker that was never released, and an Obi-Wan Kenobi never released also, or at least in the Glass line. Which is odd that they have a picture of Bespin Luke on the back, but not a picture of Luke, not gonna say that F word, regular Luke Skywalker is not listed on the back, although he's the figure they did come out with. And that's a look right there at the Glasslite or Glasslite, Star Wars vintage action figures released in 1988. These figures are kind of rare, even though they were released later in the line, but being released only in Brazil, you can kind of understand why these are so rare. Anyway, I want to thank you for watching. Again, to support this channel, head over to patreon.com or check out Subscribestar if you want to support that way. If you don't want to support either of those two ways, head over to StarWarsJunk.net and buy some cool t-shirts. They're on sale all through December, so instead of the regular $20, you can get them for $14. I want to thank you for watching. I think I already thanked you again. I'm thanking you too much. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and we'll be back to talk Star Wars, pop culture, movies, or whatever in the hell we want to talk about very soon. Thank you for watching.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.